That's right, Susanna. I've been following a class of WHINSEC students through the 9-week counter-drug operations course to find out exactly what they come here to do, what they learn, and why it's so important.
Libertad, paz y fraternidad. Freedom, peace, and brotherhood. And it's a motto that's readily apparent in everything that WHINSEC does.
The Western Hemisphere Institute for Security Cooperation provides education and training to military, law enforcement, and civilian personnel from all over the Americas in order to promote peace, unity, and teamwork throughout the region.
The mission of WHINSEC is to build relationships and to strengthen the relationship that the United States has with our partner nations. With our friends throughout the hemisphere, and also to strengthen the relationship that these individuals have with other members from other countries within the hemisphere.
It is the premier education and training facility in the United States military for training soldiers, leaders from Latin America and in the Western Hemisphere.
WHINSEC provides 24 classes that cover everything from human rights, leadership, and intelligence analysis to engineering, medical, and counter-drug operations.
We're helping the leaders, the soldiers from these countries be able to go back and solve their own challenges.
WHINSEC is really about providing folks the ability to come together and make a difference for nations.
The main challenge that we all face in the Western Hemisphere is narco-terrorism. It spawns brutal violence, ruins lives, and threatens our peace and security in the entire region.
Drugs is something that affects every country in the hemisphere and requires a solution from every country in the hemisphere. It leads to a lot of violence, especially in the countries from which many of these students come.
Bueno, en sí en nuestro país el tráfico de drogas.
Our country serves as a bridge for drug trafficking. Narco-trafficking has increased recently, and our unit is focused on combating narco-trafficking. It's a problem that affects our country and the neighboring countries.
To combat our common enemies and facilitate cooperation, countries from all over Central and South America and the Caribbean send their finest to WHINSEC. Here they learn U.S. doctrine, tactics, and techniques in courses like counter-drug operations.
49 students from 11 countries. This is one of our most diverse course loads. We have mostly military and police students that come from these countries. They come together in an international environment and work together to carry out patrolling missions, any type of mission that would be carried out in a counter-drug environment.
The TAC 6 Counter-Drug Operations course provides students with in-depth instruction on human rights, ethics, and democracy before moving out to the field to conduct patrols, marksmanship, urban combat, combatives, fast rope insertion, river movement, and a variety of counter-drug missions.
These are scenarios that these students are going to be constantly faced with once they return to their countries. Whether it's police scenarios and just a patrol, or whether it's a combat operation against an insurgent movement, and how to interact with civilians or how to interact with criminals, and making sure that you do so while safeguarding the rights that those criminals have.
One of the most important aspects the instructors continuously teach and emphasize throughout all of their courses is human rights.
Human rights is a huge thing that WHINSEC does a very good job of promoting. It's not just that they receive it in a classroom and forget it. It's that they receive it in a classroom and then they have to live it in a scenario like these students just lived it, where they're presented with a very realistic scenario in which they have to make a decision based on trying to preserve human rights and trying to preserve the principles of democracy that they learned here in this institute.
Principalmente empezamos con derechos humanos.
We started with human rights. In counter-narcotics operations, you face civilian personnel, so it's important to understand human rights as applied to the close combat tactics taught here.
Y esto debe ser mantenido.
And this should be continued because only unity between the different countries can strengthen the fight against narco-trafficking. And it doesn't matter which country we're talking about, here or there, it doesn't matter. And today's problem is not mine or yours, it's ours.
WHINSEC is arming these students with the knowledge and skills necessary to successfully promote peace, prosperity, and freedom within their countries and for all people of our region.